You driving?
Some Plan Bs are smarter than others. If you're drinking, don't drive. RBT means you need a Plan B. Authorised by New South Wales Government, Sydney.
So we're here with New South Wales batting coach Mark O'Neill. Mark, you've been doing a lot of work with the boys. How are they looking so far?
Yeah, I'm really impressed by their work ethic and the way they're going about things, and hopefully this season everything will click.
You've done quite a bit of work with a number of the senior guys as well, Shane Watson, Brad Haddon, etc. What's your sort of philosophy in terms of your batting coaching?
I think it's just basically very, very simple. I've developed a method over the years of based on sequence, and each part of the sequence is complements the other. If you get it right, you get it right. If you get it wrong, you go back to the part that's broken and you just work on that. Very, very simple. There's no fairy dust anywhere. It's common sense. Taking it back to basics.
You obviously, had a fine career yourself. How'd you end up getting into coaching?
My dad had an indoor cricket centre at the WACA, the Norm O'Neill Indoor Cricket Centre, and it was my first job after I left school as a professional coach. I then started going to England, did a little bit of coaching over there when I was 17 and 18, playing in the Lancashire League, and always dabbled with coaching whilst I was playing, so something that really interested me, and look where I am now.
And do you reckon it's changed, coaching over the years, the way people, adapt to it and what they offer in terms of their strategies?
I think the more the game changes, the more that it stays the same. The basics that were enforced when my father was playing Test cricket for Australia, or when I was playing for New South Wales or Western Australia, they're always the same. Sometimes theories and the latest great idea sometimes muddies the water. I'm pretty simple about how I go things, and look, at the end of the day, it's got to be achievable, it's got to be repeatable, and it's got to make sense. And unless the player can see the sense in it and can feel it, better off not doing it.
As a player yourself, were you a guy who liked to be coached, or did you like to work it out yourself?
I was fortunate. I had some pretty good coaches. Bob Simpson was at the start of my New South Wales career, at least. He was around for a couple of years, and in those days I think the players tended to help each other just a little bit more than they do at the moment. I'd like to think that with Trevor Bayliss' involvement with New South Wales again, and Chandy, the assistant coach, the players will start to take a little bit more responsibility for their own games and try and help each other through the good and the bad times.
There's obviously a lot of technical coaching that goes on. How much time do you spend talking to players about actually what they're thinking in the middle and dealing with situations?
Well, batting coaching isn't unfortunately just about pushing off the back foot and transferring your weight. It's basically an approach. The way that you practice is directly mirrored by how you go out and play, and a lot of the work that we do as coaches behind the scenes is about approach, about how to get yourselves up and ready for any situation.
You mentioned earlier you spent a bit of time in England working, done some work recently with Middlesex. How do you find the setup over there and the way they approach their coaching?
It's probably a little bit different. I think they value coaches just a little bit more than we do in Australia. It's a profession over there, and you're expected to know your stuff, and you're expected to work hard. It's also a 12-month job. Unfortunately, in Australia, everything has moved on except the understanding of how valuable a good coach is in a team or in an organisation.
Working with the guys this year, is there any particular players you think, looking at standout years, that you've been impressed with?
I said to Moses Enriquez yesterday that I think that New South Wales will win the Shield this year. I just wish there was a little bit more emphasis on actually Sheffield Shield as the pinnacle of Australian domestic cricket. I think that we've got a really good chance with a mix of younger players actually starting to get up around about the 25-30 first-class matches. There's a bit of experience there now, and it's probably time to cash in. So to point out certain players, I probably haven't been with the squad quite enough yet to work that out, but I'm pretty sure that a number of guys will put their hand up.
Obviously watched the Ashes recently, and there's still a slightly unsettled lineup in terms of the Australian top order. In terms of getting a settled position in a lineup and knowing where to bat, is that something you think is really important?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. You've got to know that you've got a little bit of a chance. I believe that these selectors are chopping and changing too much, and cricket is a difficult enough game as it is, without sort of every single time that you go out to play, you're playing for your family's future. Well, I'd like to see an overhaul of the selection process, and I would like to see a stability just sort of start to come back into the game just a little bit. And someone said yesterday, let's stick and pick. Well, I totally agree with that. Work out who the best players are in the country and pick them and give them an opportunity to be the best that they can be.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing a fantastic job. I know the boys speak very highly of you as a batting coach, and we appreciate the work you've done this year.
Thanks very much, mate. Good on you.